Welcome to Module 2 of this free training video from RiskCentric. In this module, we're going to go through the process of building an incident management plan. The difference between incident management and business continuity is sometimes confusing, and many use the terms interchangeably. And to make things really opaque, some people tend to use the term crisis management, which is incident management by a different name. Incident or crisis management is about facilitating the leadership response to any event that threatens the organization, its brand, or its reputation. Business continuity is about the tactical work of recovering or continuing operations and services in the face of an operational disruption. Major incidents often start with someone discovering a problem at a local level, a leak or an IT glitch, for instance. This first stage incident response is when an individual responds to help with something that still appears to be a small localized problem. When the first responder attends the problem, they may decide that they can deal with it themselves or with a colleague, in which case no further action is required. If the issue is more severe and cannot be dealt with by the first responder and their immediate colleagues, they may need to involve a wider support group who will direct a wider response to the issue. We could call this stage incident control. Generally speaking, incident control activities will involve a number of departments within the organization. For instance, let's say someone has discovered a leak in a particular area of the building, so they call the facilities department. On attendance, the facilities person discovers that the source of the leak is actually in another location. The initial discovery is simply runoff from the main source of the leak, which is actually in the server room where most of the organization's IT equipment is. Clearly, the facilities responders can stop the leak by shutting down the water supply and calling in a specialist supplier. But has any IT equipment been damaged? The job of incident control is to decide on an immediate course of action that could bring the issue under control with the help of wider resources. They may take some initial actions, but their overall objective is to establish whether they can overcome the problem without initiating the business continuity plan. The membership of this team should include at least one senior member of the departments that provide the core capabilities of the organization. The reason for this is that these individuals are best placed to evaluate the impact of an incident on their areas and how this will impact the operational priorities that they support. If the scale of the incident is such that the incident control team can't overcome it and it's becoming increasingly clear that things can't be restored to normal, i.e. the water damage has affected 35% of IT equipment, which will then have to be either dried out or replaced, then the incident management team needs to be activated and the full incident management process made operational to obtain command and control of the situation and to invoke the business continuity plan. For this reason, it's often helpful for a member of the incident management team to also be part of the incident control team. This can help the transition from incident control to incident management. So there are basically four phases to an incident. Discovery, when it's first noticed that something is wrong and the individual who has found the issue summons a specialist support department to assist. Incident response, where a localized evaluation and remediation of the incident is undertaken by a specialist. Incident control, where a number of specialists from different departments try to handle the situation with their own departmental resources. And finally, incident management, which requires an organizational response and the involvement of senior management to make significant and wide-ranging decisions. Each phase of an incident requires that the right people are in the right place at the right time. In the incident discovery phase, as we mentioned, the person discovering the incident could be anyone in the organization. What they will need to know is who to call and possibly how to keep safe. In the incident response stage, the team will be a number of functional specialists drawn from those areas that support the core capabilities of the organization on a day-to-day basis. The incident control stage is entered when the situation requires escalation to other specialists because one or more capabilities are or may be heavily impaired. During incident management, the senior management of the organization are involved with the objective of controlling the situation, directing recovery activities, and concentrating on minimizing the damage to the organization and its reputation. When is an incident not an incident? Organizations deal with incidents on a daily basis. They may be isolated IT issues, leaky pipes, or problems with building access. In most cases, these are nuisances rather than major incidents because they don't disrupt the normal operation of the organization and it can be dealt with by one department. But small issues can grow into incidents that significantly disrupt the organization. For instance, the existence of a ransomware attack can start with just one or two users raising help desk tickets. So one of the major considerations when developing an incident management plan is having a framework to support the decision-making process from dealing with a nuisance to recognizing that you have an issue that will significantly disrupt the normal operation of your organization. So the first part of your incident management plan has to deal with two issues. At what stage does a nuisance become a potential crisis? And how do we escalate the problem to those with the skills and authority to deal with it? And we also need to bear in mind that the person who finds the problem may not be the person who can fix it. It could be anyone in the organization. Who in your organization deals with day-to-day operational issues? It's probably facilities, security, IT, and maybe health and safety specialists. These are the people who are contacted when an issue is first noticed. So for incident management purposes, they're normally the first point of contact. In some cases, this may be via a help desk or just a telephone call to the appropriate person or department. So the first step is to ensure that the people in your organization know who to contact, and it's important to remember one thing here: they won't read a plan. This area is a prime example of where a document is really not the best way to facilitate response to a situation. What's required is that the right guidance is available at the moment of need. So what other options do we have? Signage is the way forward in this area. Physical visual aids that are posted in communal areas such as reception areas, catering facilities, and other areas where the problem may manifest itself. For instance, stickers on laptops, messages on mouse mats, or even screensavers with help desk contact details. These can all help when IT issues are encountered. Signage for specific areas such as server rooms, restrooms, etc. with messages such as, if you notice something unusual, suspicious, or faulty, contact this number. In any incident, speedy response and accurate referral to the right response group is a major factor in containing incidents before they get out of control. Think of this part of your incident management plan as its ignition key, the part that fires things up in case you need to mobilize. We are now at the stage where an incident has been reported. It might be minor or it could be really significant. This nearly always relies on the decision of the incident response specialist who has received the alert and attended the problem. Now the specialist has some questions to ask, which are shown here. If the answer to the first question is yes, then we just have a minor incident. However, if the situation is rapidly moving away from the capabilities of a single department to handle it, and additional specialists are required to assist, then the next stage of the incident management process, incident control, must be initiated. Incident control activities are performed when a situation cannot be contained by the actions of one department. The first job of this group when contacted by the incident responder is to assess the situation and decide whether or not they can collectively contain the incident with local workarounds or fixes, or whether there is a high likelihood that the incident could cause a failure of one or more core capabilities and then compromise operating priorities. If workarounds are not feasible and normal operations are becoming significantly compromised, the full incident management process has to be initiated. You might be thinking that the incident response and incident control actions are already embedded in your organization. Most departments deal with glitches on a daily basis and have helplines, help desks, and on-call people who deal with these glitches. But since many incidents start out as what looks like a day-to-day glitch, we wanted to show how the process of dealing with glitches and nuisances needs to be joined up so that serious incidents don't get out of control before someone realizes a glitch has turned into a crisis. That's why we've included incident response and incident control in the incident management framework that we'll be showing you in just a moment. Managing a major incident is difficult and stressful because people are trying to make decisions in a time pressurized situation, often with imperfect information, and you can never write a procedure detailed enough to cover every eventuality. But what will significantly help you to manage an operational incident are these four things. Having a team in place that understands their role and is proficient in performing them. Having a clear framework to collect situational information and make decisions. Being prepared to communicate effectively and knowing who to communicate with. And having somewhere where the incident management team can effectively work from. Let's see how this all comes together into a completed incident management framework. A typical incident management team would resemble the diagram shown here. The incident lead is a senior manager who is leading and orchestrating overall incident management activities. This person, who may not be the most senior person in the organization, should be the person best qualified for the role. A range of specialists would support the incident lead. The specialist support roles will be drawn from IT, facilities, and leadership from priority activities. IT and facilities will provide advice and support and feedback from specialist teams that are dealing with IT recovery actions and workplace recovery issues. They will be participating in ongoing decision making and providing regular situational updates and feedback from specialists who are dealing with the mechanics of recovery. Depending on the nature of the organization and the type of incident, procurement and supply chain may have a role to play. Where physical goods are involved, deliveries may have to be rerouted or suspended. Alternative supplies may have to be ordered or previous orders amended. Communications plays a vital role within the incident management process. The communications role, in conjunction with the incident lead, focuses on issuing updates and guidance to staff during both incident management and during the recovery phases, and also to external parties such as media and parties outside of the organisation who may be impacted by the incident. Because of the number of messaging streams, whilst there may be a centralised role for coordinating communications, it is likely that each audience will have a person dedicated to issuing updates to them. When developing a communications framework for incident management, these audiences will need to be considered and factored in. Mass communications to staff. We covered this in stage 4 of module 1, where we focused on internal communication throughout the wider organisation. Next of kin. Depending on the nature of the incident, employees nearest and dearest may be concerned for their safety and may contact your organisation for information. Customers. How will customers with outstanding orders, open support requests, etc. find out what is going on and when services will be resumed? Media. If the incident is creating a public interest story, your organisation may be contacted by the media. You need to be prepared for this with a media handling strategy. Key accounts. Your most important customers may expect priority treatment and a personal touch, and you may well need one or more people dedicated to fielding their questions and dealing with their problems. When developing your external communication strategy, always bear in mind that how effectively you communicate during a crisis will shape the perception of how well you are actually dealing with it. Let's take a look at the structure of a typical incident management plan or framework. Overall, we can see that it defines resources such as the workplace recovery location and mass transport arrangements, together with guidance for activating these. It identifies the members of the incident management team, their contact details and deputies in the event that the primary contact is unavailable. And at the foot of the page, it provides guidance for activating the incident team communications facilities. The second page provides a prompt card approach to each stage of the incident management process, outlining key steps and actions relevant to each stage. The overall communications framework forms part of the incident management plan and provides a link to specialist recovery teams. The communications framework defines internal interfaces within the organization and with audiences external to the organization. One really important issue to consider is accommodation for the incident management team, and it needs to be something more than just the broom cupboard. The key things to consider are accessibility. Remember, although the boardroom and your normal location of work may have all of the facilities you need, if your business premises are unavailable, then so is your incident room, so you may need to think of an alternative. Accommodation. The incident room needs to be big enough to accommodate the incident management team comfortably. Facilities. Communications, as we've said several times, is a vital factor in successful incident management. So the incident management room needs to be properly equipped in this respect. As a minimum, you'll need telephone conferencing facilities, hands-free telephone capabilities, and possibly video conferencing. Quiet areas are important for breakout meetings and for sensitive communications, such as dealing with incoming calls from next of kin. An incident room can get pretty noisy, and so it's a good idea to make provision for these quiet areas when considering the design and location of your incident room. On the subject of noise, it's also helpful to have a series of visual aids to help confirm progress and actions taken. Taking away the necessity for several individuals to verbally confirm actions taken can reduce the noise and hence stress levels within the incident room. Think of these as giant checklists mounted on the wall of the incident room, which are regularly updated and can be seen and referred to by everyone in the room. Incident room visual aids are covered in more detail in our deep dive course on crisis management, which will be available online very soon. We have now completed Module 2, the Incident Management Plan. And in this module, we've covered the incident escalation process, incorporating incident discovery, incident response, incident control, and incident management. We have looked at the composition and roles of the crisis or incident management team. We have walked through the structure of an incident management plan, incorporating the communications framework within the overall plan. And we have considered the accommodation requirements for the incident management team. We're now ready to start Module 3, Oversight, Assurance and Awareness, where we will look at the processes for keeping our plans up to date and fit for purpose. Your incident plan can be considered complete when you can answer yes to the questions in this checklist. This checklist is included in the templates download from our website.